I always wondered what the biological reason that Snorlax, when it Gigantamaxes, gets a tree growing from its stomach in the game. Like, that never made sense to me. And I'm so glad that this episode kind of addressed that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, episode 5 of the Pocket Monsters anime titled Snorlax Grows Gigantic? The Mystery of Dynamax is here, and finally we get to see some Dynamaxing and some Gigantamaxing on this Pokemon episode. On top of that, we'll go accept to Scorbunny as the first Pokemon? Let's find out. This episode begins with a small recap of last episode where Ash and Go have that encounter with Scorbunny before we start the episode in the train with the Scorbunny daydreaming about Go. He looks around for Go in the train before hearing Ash and Go's voice while they're eating breakfast and tries to get their attention by just jumping around in front of them and stuff like that, but they're too busy eating breakfast. Then he tries to whistle, but nothing. So he gets upset and it picks up and eats part of an orangeberry before kicking it, and it accidentally hits a waiter who gets knocked down, so it has to run away so it doesn't get caught. The train finally comes to a stop and it's tired, but because it takes so long to get out of the door, the train door closes before it's able to get out of the stop where Ash and Go are getting off, so it tries to hurry up and jump out of the window, but they're inside a tunnel, so he can't jump out of a window either. Poor Scorbunny. Meanwhile, Ash and Go get off the train and ask one of the workers in the station about giant Pokemon, and the worker tells them that that's called Dynamaxing, and they can find one just by looking for the red light. On the other hand, Scorbunny finally gets out of the train window after they get out of that tunnel. That Scorbunny is determined to find Go. So this is basically a tale of two tapes here. One is Scorbunny's struggle to try to find Go in the wild area, while the other is Ash and Go in the wild area enjoying themselves. Ash is even riding on a Flygon. That's pretty cool. Ash and Go eventually find a slightly bigger than average Snorlax, who they think is Dynamax, so they're disappointed that it's just slightly bigger, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, Scorbunny finally finds Go, and it tries to get Go's attention for a while, until eventually it does when it kicks a rock which hits Ash in the head, and it causes a fruit to fall, causing Snorlax to jump while sleeping. Go asks the Scorbunny if it was following them, and Ash tells him that the Scorbunny probably wants to be his Pokemon, but just like before, Go reiterates that he has made up his mind that the first Pokemon he's going to capture is going to be Mew, which really saddens the Scorbunny. Aw, poor thing. But then all of a sudden, red orbs start coming around the Snorlax before a beam of light comes into the sky, and the sky darkens and the Snorlax becomes giant. So, real quick, they call it Dynamaxing throughout the episode, even though the Snorlax is called Gigantamax Snorlax. So, it's a phenomenon called Dynamaxing, even if they Gigantamax? I guess that's the case. They didn't really clarify it in this episode. Maybe in the future they will, but in the game, I don't think they ever call it Gigantamaxing. They just call it Dynamaxing. So maybe it's just Gigantamax Pokemon who Dynamax. I don't know. Yeah, that sounds a bit confusing, but you get what I mean? Anyways, the Snorlax Gigantamax and becomes giant, and for once, they actually give it a solid biological reasoning as to why it has trees growing off its belly. Basically, it eats food and it spits out the seed which lands on it, so when it Dynamaxes, the Dynamax power causes the fruit to grow. That's basically how it works. Now that doesn't explain how the trees just kind of disappear when the Gigantamax disappears, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, the main thing is just that the Gigantamax Snorlax is blocking the railroad, so a train could crash into it if they don't get it to move. So our heroes decide they're going to make it jump away from the track by using the fruit that's on the tree that it's sleeping on. Basically the tree coming out of its tummy. They do a good job of giving scale to the Snorlax because as they're going up to the Snorlax looks unbelievably giant. Even the fruit on the tree is huge. Ash and Pikachu are able to get it down with repeated Iron Tails, but it gets stuck on some hedges before it can reach Snorlax's mouth. So Go tries to push it, and he can't, but eventually Scorbunny jumps in to help him. And while they're pushing the fruit, Go notices the fire on Scorbunny's feet and has it use Double Kick, which works and gets the fruit going in the air along with Scorbunny in the Gigantamax Snorlax's mouth, causing Snorlax to jump away from the tracks right before the train can arrive. But Scorbunny's being eaten now. Lucky for them, the Gigantamaxing ends, and the Scorbunny spits out the Snorlax. Go thanks Scorbunny for its help and tells it that it's cool, but while the Scorbunny tries to keep a happy face, it walks away sad. Aww. Then, right there, Go decides that, you know what? Scorbunny will be my first Pokemon. He captures it, and it's kind of shocked that he caught his first Pokemon, honestly. They head back to the lab, and they're telling Dr. Sakuragi about their adventure, and the episode ends with Go introducing Scorbunny to Dr. Sakuragi as his Pokemon, after playing around with the Emperor for a bit. I really liked this episode. It was a good introduction to Gigantamaxing/Dynamaxing, but more importantly, it was just a really fun episode to watch for the adventures of Ash, Go, and Scorbunny. There was a bit of comedy, some sad moments. It was a blend of everything, and I think that this episode really succeeded in making an all-around great episode. Not only that, but it made the wild area look really nice. I don't know, I am a bit disappointed that it didn't look like what I had imagined it in my head. Basically a giant area where there's just Pokemon everywhere. The episode kind of split it up into different areas and different Pokemon, and while that is the case in the game too, I just kind of imagined it would be like way more Pokemon in an area. They only showed like a couple at a time, so it's a bit disappointed, but it still looked really nice in terms of the coloring and things like that. Same thing with the Gigantamaxing/Dynamaxing sequence. The red lights coming off of Snorlax, the transformation, it all looks fantastic. It's one of those things that you wish the game did, but, the game just starts off with a Dynamaxing Pokemon, and that's it. But, oh well, what can you really do? The third episode, that must have just been an outlier in terms of animation, because after that, all the episodes have looked fantastic and fluid. And the music too, I'm really starting to dig it a lot more. Although there are moments where I noticed the difference, like, for example, when Snorlax is Gigantamaxing, they could have used some sort of remix for the raid battle theme, or battle theme or anything, but didn't. I know this wasn't really a battle, but, it was really noticeable. But then again, right now I'm assuming what Miyazaki would have put in, so I can't really say much either. This Scorbunny that Go has so much personality, I really like it. Like I said last episode, this is the type of Pokemon usually Ash gets, so for it to go to Go is kind of surprising. Not in this situation, the promotional art showed Go and Scorbunny, but just in general. I think this is going to lead to Go's goal of capturing all the Pokemon now. If you didn't know, before the show was out, they were advertising Go as the Pokemon capturer while Ash would be the battler. And so far we haven't seen that yet, and I was wondering when that would happen. So it looks like this episode and the following episode are really going to be the catalyst towards that change. But before I talk about that next episode preview, I'll just say that check this episode out. Honestly, it's a really, really good episode, and I think you'd really highly like it. Like I said, the next episode looks like it's going to be the catalyst towards the personality change for Go when they go to Viridian Forest to research it, and I'm assuming he's just going to try to capture everything. I don't think anything too interesting is going to happen besides some more character development for Go. There does look like there's going to be a battle with a Scyther that looks really nice, so I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, it looks like it's just going to be a pretty solid episode. But anyways, that's it for my review of the 5th episode of the Pocket Monsters anime. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think of this episode. You can also follow me on Twitter at TheRealPdGaming, and that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.